All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Actually, I just need to grab a few things. Oops. All right. So, this week I just recently got these Vallejo pigment color sets, and these are where Vallejo just sells their colored pigments. Instead of adding, usually when you make paint, you add a bunch of pigments to like a paint medium and a binder in order to make the paint itself. However, the pigments themselves are actually quite useful, and you can get a lot of use out of them that's not just like mixing your own paint. We're not looking to do that. But it's very useful for, well, dirt and rust and those kind of effects. And so I'm actually going to be trying these out for the first time on stream today. I've tried to do some dirt effects before, and this is kind of how it turned out. I like it, but I think I could do better. And I'm kind of hoping that these pigments will help me. What? Will help me do better if I can get these open. My goodness. Huh? Let's push down and then hold up. This is a disaster. I can't open the pigment powders. Am I just... Huh. Let's see, I've opened them before. I wonder... Oh, you can see they're like all over my hand. It looks like rust to me, honestly. What is happening? Alright, I'm gonna go grab something to help open these real quick. Never mind, they're just not going to open. What the heck? Alright, well, I guess I'm not using the pigments because they're actually just impossible to open. Alright. Well, I'm still going to be doing kind of dirt and rust effects today. I just won't be using my new fun pigment powders. Okay. Yeah, so normally the way that I go about doing rust and dirt is pretty similar here. And a lot of that's because of the dirt color that I chose for my bases. I chose like a Martian red rusty color. So the colors I'm using today are going to be the base color is a mixture between like Mephiston red and Doombull brown, just to give the Doombull brown a little more red to it. And then similarly I use I mix in Mephiston red with like Scrag brown and this light ochre color. And then for actual rust, I actually add in some Troll Slayer orange there for like some extra pop. But yeah, those are the colors I'm going to be using today. Get some on my palette. Just so you can see what's going on here. I grabbed some of the Mephiston red, And I'm not going to mix all of it together. I'm just going to take a little bit and mix it in the Doom Bull Brown. Which I think even though I was trying to be careful, I still might have mixed in too much. It's okay. We just come back in with some more Doom Bull Brown here. Alright, that's looking good. And we do the same thing here with the Scrag Brown. I'm just looking to add a red tint to our browns. Alright. And then for the shade that I use, I generally use bone oil. So you can see that generally I apply a kind of a thin glaze of the base color onto the model itself. And then you can work some into the recesses, and you can do a stippling effect to get like random splashes of dirt on the models. So I'm going to start by diluting the base color a little bit, drawing it out across the palette to bring up some moisture and dilute the paint. Then we're going to go ahead and apply it to the model. And you'll see that because of how diluted I made it, it kind of seeps into the cracks and crevices. And that's okay, because generally dirt will settle in those areas, and so if there's more paint there, then that just kind of that makes sense. That matches what we expect to see. And then similarly apply some to the robe, to like the bottom of the robe. And I'm going to use this brush to stipple a little bit. So it looks like it's like splashing up as they're like trudging through dirt and mud. Draw a little more out here onto the palette and keep going. And you can see when it dries, you get like a caked on mud effect. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We can come in and strengthen it up a little bit, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. So now we can come in with our second color here, and this just represents kind of like a higher concentration of mud and dirt. And so, yeah, we're going to be focusing this in the recesses here to get a little extra definition. And towards like the bottom of the towards the bottom of the robes. Again, just using like a stippling effect to make it look like random splatter. Oh, I forgot to do the back of the robes. I'm going to come in here back with the base color here a little bit because I forgot to do this. Alright. So with a mixture of like recess shading techniques and like stippling techniques, we can get like this dirtied effect on our model's feet that makes it look like they've been trudging through mud for at least a few days. Alright. And there we go. Move on to the next one. Trying to take a water break here. Make sure you stay hydrated. Alright. God. You know what? I'm gonna grab some pliers here. Start trying to open these pigment bottles. Okay. That's so disappointing. I literally opened these up before stream. I wonder if they got like warped or something? Bro. Okay, we're getting somewhere. God. Okay, I got one of them open. Holy. I do think though that this one just, like this top, just the top broke on the one I want to use, which is quite unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll just have to, oh my god, okay. Whew. So the answer was that the one just has a broken top. Okay. So now I'm going to work on some rust, and I have this model right here, which is the war dog that I was painting earlier, and it has this nice metal frame that I worked on, but I think it could use some dirtying. So I'm going to try and apply some of this pigment powder here. I think like a thicker brush like this will do good. We'll have to see though. And I'm going to start with getting some onto a palette. So you can see they have you know, like 3 varying colors, and this is from left to right. Old rust, rust, and new rust. I'm actually gonna get some more rust out here. So we're gonna start with the old rust. And work our way up, similar to how we go with our our normal layer paints, where we're just looking to get go from dark to light and build our way up. Whoop. It's kind of all over the place. It's okay though. Well, I'm going to take a brush with some water, kind of knock away the excess, and you can see kind of the effect kind of come in. where we have this rust color kind of gather in the recesses and around all the rivets of the model. And you can also see like a kind of a random kind of effect. Which is good. We don't want our rust to look too normal. If our rust is too normal, then it doesn't look realistic. And we can come in here with our second rust color. Let's see how that goes. Apply it in a similar fashion. Let's see if we can take a damp brush here, run it over some of the raised areas that we don't want the rust to be in, just to leave Yeah, and the nice thing about this is that there's a, it's got kind of a reductive quality to it, where you can just take a brush with some water on it and like wipe it off because it is just pigment. There's no binder or anything that really keeps it it like really sets. And so it's kind of easy to remove if you want to. I do think I'm gonna apply a varnish on top of this when I'm done, just so that it just to make sure it stays, and I don't accidentally wipe any of it off. But yeah, that's looking pretty rusty, and especially if you compare it to like this side over here, which looks clean and pristine. Over here we got this rusty, dirty look instead. And so I'm just gonna go around and do this to the whole leg here, or at least, you know, parts of the whole leg. Not everything has to be rusty, but we're looking for a good amount of rust because this is a kind of a well-used machine. Oh, I'm mixing pigment powders. I'm sure that's fine. I think I'm grabbing too much sometimes, and that's causing like some issues, but because, again, just because it's a powder, you can kind of just wipe away the excess. There's not really any issues that I'm having. And you can see when it dries, it has this like super matte effect that looks really good as a rust. Alright, now I'm going to come in with my trusty damp brush again to take it off the armor panels and such that I don't want it to be on. Alright, now I'm trying to decide how rusty I should make this. Not really sure, although I am going to grab some of the new rust pigment powder. That's the third brightest color that I haven't used yet. And we're just going to see how that goes. Again, placing it kind of sparingly. Oh, thank you. Yeah, gonna be doing your first paint job with the Tau Crisis battlesuits? Oh, that's really cool. Um, Tau is a really cool faction. Um, are you just going for like the default color scheme with like the I don't know, is it like tan for the battlesuits? Generally, I see like tan colors. I see red colors on the Tau. But yeah, this is um, a new product that I picked up. I've been seeing lots of people talk about the like the Vallejo pigments, and it's kind of cool because it's just like colored dust that you like slap on the model, and then you come in with like a wet brush and you just take it away from the areas you don't want it to be, and it leaves you with this like this interesting rust effect, which I think is pretty cool. And in terms of skill required to apply and do the technique, it's low. So I don't really need to think about it. It's kind of a low effort solution. And it's kind of fun to do. Because you just slap a bunch of dust on your model and then wipe it away. I did like the... So I came in with like the color's called New Rust. I think I like the old Rust look better. So I'm gonna come in with some old Rust to bring that color back. It's more of a dark red brown as opposed to an orange. I think it's more fitting of the kind of the look I'm going for on my model. Oh, it's maybe a bit too much. Don't want it to be too prominent on the raised areas. I'm looking for kind of a like a lightly rusted effect as opposed to a heavily rusted effect. So not looking for too much. I did spend a lot of time on this paint job, so you know. not trying to cover the whole thing. Alright. So you should be able to see the difference between like the lower legs and the upper body. See how it looks. Of course, I will be doing this. I will be continuing this effect on the rest of the night. Just gotta get there first. And I did magnetize it so that it would be easier to paint and stuff. So that's why it's in pieces right now. Yeah, I do think that's so. I think the highlighting I did is kind of coming to bite me right now. I think it looks a little weird to have the highlighted metal next to um, the rusty parts, because it looks like there's polished and rusty metal, which doesn't super make sense. It doesn't look right. So I might have to apply a small amount of rust to like most of the chassis to get it to like at least look good. I don't know. Or maybe I just need to clear more of the pigment powder off of the raised areas. Alright, I'll set that to the side and I'll reevaluate later. Sometimes it's best to put something down for a little bit and look at it later, just to get a different perspective. But yeah, so I'm just getting a little bit onto my brush, and I'm using a thicker brush. It's more like a dry brush. If you have some of those, they're very useful. And yeah, you just kind of get some onto your brush and then work it into the model in places where you think brush should be. I think this part should be very rusty, so we're just going to dump a bunch on there. And you know, while I have like a bunch of different colors for the rust, I think I really like the old rust color. I think that is particularly interesting to me. So I might use these other colors sparingly. Yeah, it can be scary to do this kind of thing sometimes because you're you just got finished painting the model and it looks good. You have it in a place where you're happy with it, and then you're like, all right, now it's time to mess it up. It's time to make it look dirty, and that can be kind of scary, especially with the amount of time it takes to get these models looking good. Sometimes can be pretty scary to then go ahead and mess it up. But this is what we're looking at right now. And these are the kind of areas that I'm looking at when I'm like, it looks weird to have the almost polished looking metal next to the super rusty metal. I don't know. I do need some more of the old rust pigment powder here. And this stuff is getting everywhere, so I'm probably gonna have to like vacuum after this. Maybe take a shower. I don't particularly want this on any of the armor plates, so I am going to be kind of wiping it off the armor plates. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do the guns here. They can't let them feel left out. Alright. Oh. I'm gonna need to put this guy on a base sooner rather than later because he is not stable. Keeps falling over. It's almost like he was made to be glued to a base. Building them with a crash test dummy palette. Yeah, that's funny. I I often also do test models. Um, it's a great way to experiment, and sometimes I have trouble like trying new things because it's like what if it doesn't work out? What if it looks bad? And test models can be great for trying out new things and expanding your I don't know, repertoire, your toolbox, so to speak, of kind of painting techniques that you can do. Um, Builds are not great. Yeah, especially if you're new to the hobby, building the models is pretty hard. A lot of the bits are super fiddly and easy to break, but once you get it down, it's not too bad. It just takes a bit of getting used to. But yeah, I got a couple models that I'm working with here, and generally my process is I get it to a point where I'm happy with it, and then I go ahead and dirty it up. So I've got a bunch of models lined up that I'm just like gonna be adding rust to, adding dirt to, adding just generally messing up a little bit so that they're less perfect, less like they're just right off the assembly line. Yeah, the instructions, they're weird. And sometimes you can kind of roll with things that you've messed up. Like you can do it as like, you can spin it as like battle damage or that kind of thing. But yeah, there are some times where you mess up and it's just you can't recover from it. Which is too bad. But I think before you hopped on, I was doing these. These are my Dark Angels, and so for these guys, I'm not doing so much rust. I'm doing more dirt and stuff around the feet to make it look like they at least pretend like they're on this Mars-like planet. Oh, you were able to magnetize successfully? That's great. Yeah, as you can see, I like to magnetize as well. I think it's great. But it is pretty hard to do, so good job getting it, especially if these are like the first couple models that you've built. That's great. Especially the larger models, it's kind of I don't want to say it's required that you magnetize them, but yeah, swapping weapons is fun. Yeah, I agree. It's also like I can't make up my mind when I'm building, So you're like, which weapon do I pick? I don't know. I can't make a decision. So then I'm just stuck, and I just end up not building them. But then if you magnetize it, it's like I don't have to decide which weapons to put because I can just swap them out later. So I ran into a bit of a fiasco where I couldn't open one of the pigment powder bottles. I think the cap is broken. So I had to go in and do it the old-fashioned way with regular paint. But it's this brown iron oxide. When to use super glue and plastic glue? Yeah. Having to switch between the two is one of the downsides of having to use magnets, because they're not plastic. You don't have the option to use the plastic glue. Yeah, so this is the troublemaker here, and I really want to use it because it matches the color of the bases that I did for my Dark Angels, but I'm pretty sure the cap is just broken, and I can't get it off. Maybe I'll have to come in with like a hammer and just smash the cap. Oh God! All right. Yeah. Round 2 of trying to get that open still doesn't work. That's okay. I'll just like cry about it later. But yeah, these pigment powders work really well for like basing and dirt and rust. So even though this is my first time using these powders, um, I think I really like them. I'm definitely gonna continue to use them in the future. Oh no, you melted away some of the. Oh. Yeah, you gotta. It's something that you gotta be super careful with, because yeah, it will just melt some of your models. I also like to have like a wet paper towel handy. If you accidentally get some glue in a place that you don't want it, if you work quickly, you can kind of wipe it away with a wet paper towel. Another thing is you got to make sure that you don't get any on your fingers. It's the arms especially. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, sometimes you can hide the mistakes that you made. Yeah, but yeah, you also got to make sure you don't get any on your fingers, because you can leave like fingerprints on your models, where the glue like melted away in the pattern of your fingerprint, and that sucks. Then you're like, oh no, everyone knows. They're all gonna see it. I also have this, it's like black pigment powder. Let's see how that goes. I think this will work well for like soot and like blast marks. Let's see here. Do I have any? Like I have these vents here, like on the side of the gun. I have some over here too, maybe. I think that this blacker color will work better. Let's see here. That did not really work out how I thought it would. Sounds good. Thanks for stopping by. And if you have any, the way I've been doing things recently is I've just been kind of doing whatever's on my workbench on stream. If you have any suggestions or things that you want to see, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to make suggestions. I'm happy to. I'm kind of happy to do whatever. I've just been doing. I just haven't had any suggestions lately, so I'm just doing whatever. Oh god, I got it everywhere. Help! Alright. The black as like soot did not work as well as the rust. Maybe because I needed to be a bit more precise, and I've been using such a thick brush. But we'll try again. We'll try again. Can't give up yet. Let's see. I also have. I'm gonna go grab my bigger Chaos Knight here. See if it'll work better on that model, since it is significantly larger. And this guy's actually done. He has he's got a base and everything. Oh, he doesn't even really fit on the screen. All right, let's see. Any vents on the bottom half? Although I could do like scorch marks and stuff on the base. He does have vents on like his guns and on top. Let's see. Let's see if we can do like blast or scorch marks on like it doesn't really, can't say that it really works on like flat surfaces. There's not really anything for the pigment to settle into, but I think these, so I did these like blast craters, and I think that works well for like these little blast craters that I have. Definitely looks a lot better than like the color that it was before. If we can make it look like it's a little bit scorched, I think that'll be good. All right. That at least, let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, that at least I think looks good. I like how that looks, especially since it adds some, I think, much needed variety to the base. It breaks up the breaks up the brown on the ground. Let's see. There was some on the gun that I think I'm gonna take a look at here. Try and put some soot around these vents here. Oh. Maybe I'll try a different brush here. Just a little bit more precise. Oh boy. I don't want to get any on the plasma coils. This stuff gets everywhere. I love a good fine dust that just covers everything. Alright, I think once I clean up the surrounding area, it should look a bit better. The effect should stand out a little bit more. I would like it to be darker, but I'm not exactly sure how I can get it darker. Let's see here. Maybe try adding a bit of moisture here. I'm thinking that's looking better. We'll have to see how it looks when it dries. One thing that's nice about these pigment powders is that even when you get them wet, when they dry super matte. And so it should look like soot when it's done. I'll set that to the side though, see if there's something else I can do in the meantime. Maybe these top vents here. One thing is you do kind of need like a dry brush and a wet brush because it's kind of hard to get some of these effects when you have a wet brush, but then you do need a wet brush to like kind of wipe away excess or clean up parts of the model that you didn't want to get the stuff on. Yeah, you need to learn how to do plasma and stuff. Yeah, plasma can be hard, and one of the main reasons it's hard is because it's kind of the opposite of how you paint just about everything else. Everything else you go from dark and you layer up light, but in this case you start darker and then you go to basically pure white. And that's how you get like the plasma-y effect. Or really like any kind of energy coil effect. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good for like soot. Right there. Can bring back the gun, see how it dried. Maybe add a little bit more here. But yeah, if you look at, I did do this with an airbrush. A few spots weren't painted well with the spray. Yeah, I do some subassembly just because it is hard to paint and reach some of the areas. But I don't do too much because at the end of the day, if you can't reach it with a paintbrush, it's a lot of people probably won't see it anyway. So you don't really need to worry about it. But yeah, if you do need to touch up some areas with the primer, you can do multiple layers of the primer. Like that's not too bad as long as you don't go too thick with each layer. But yeah, basically the way I do plasma coils at least is I start with the white and you kind of just paint the whole thing white, and then you build up layers of darker and darker colors, kind of the opposite of how you normally paint. Just trying to make sure you leave some of the white in those deepest cracks so that it looks like it's glowing. And then you can see, like up here, I ended up with like a purple. You can do this with any color, and it just all follows the same workflow, where you start with white and then you know, as you go further away from the inner coils, you get darker, and you end up with this interesting effect. Looks like I got some of the black on the leg. Need to make sure I remove that. I am going to come in though with some I'll try this burnt umber. I think this burnt umber color matches the color of my ground. I'm going to apply it to the feet. I already tried to do some kind of dirt technique. I think this should work a little bit better. Might work a little bit better even on the grass, because basically I just have like normal green grass that I like try and like paint to make it better fit the environment, because you can't have just like vibrant green grass, not in the 41st millennia. No. Gonna take a little bit of this dirt, apply it everywhere. Maybe take a little bit of it off. But I can imagine that this ground is quite dusty, so I don't really have a problem with getting it everywhere. I can imagine that this thing walking around would kick up quite a lot of dirt. Even though I've never seen a giant walking abomination, I can imagine it'll kick up some dirt. And then we'll pick some off here. Well, I think I am going to come in with shade, because I did get a bunch of the pigment powder all over the ground, and I do think I need to shade that down a little bit, so I'll come in with some Agrax Earth Shade to bring back some of the darkness and depth that I had on the base. Should also seal the pigment powder down. Alright. We'll set this guy to the side, see how it looks when it dries. Come back to him a little bit later. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be too too dark. I do think this will work out. Still kind of sells the effect, but it's a subtle effect, which I'm fine with. It won't immediately pop out, but you know, upon closer inspection, someone will be like, "Oh, that's some soot," which I'm fine with. Okay, back to my Dark Angels here that I'm working on dirtying up. So got a few more to do here. Yeah, so they don't really apply well to flat surfaces. So I am gonna have to come in with some like layer paints to do the flat surfaces, but in terms of dirtying up like the armor plates and such, I think this works quite well. So I can come in with kind of wash here that I've created. Lock down the layers, apply it to like the robes and such. Bring back some of the red or brown. And if you can see, I'm applying this in a stippling kind of effect so that there's a kind of randomness, much like you would see from dust and dirt splatter landing on a material. All right. You guys are looking pretty good. All right. Made a huge mess. That's okay though. Let's see here. I do have a couple more models that I do need to kind of dirty up here. Let me go grab them real quick. I wasn't quite sure how far I would get today. It seems I did not grab enough. Here's a Dreadnought from my Dark Angels here. Can do some dirtying. All right. Now we can come in with the reddish brown kind of wash that I've concocted. Bring back some of that reddish brown color. Thinking this guy's looking pretty good too. Although I do have some areas that I would like to add some of this like soot to. That did not go the way I wanted. Oh. Well, we'll see. So I've been sculpting these tabards myself because I think all the Dark Angels should have robes of some kind, since that's kind of their theme. But there were some imperfections and stuff, so I was planning on having it look like maybe they were burned or like they had some bullet holes or whatever. So I was planning on adding some soot marks to kind of solidify that idea. Maybe I will also try to add maybe some like a fiery effect to make it continue to sell the fact that it's maybe singed. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to bring out some reds and oranges and yellows onto my palette. See what I can do. You can see the plasma effect I did on this guy. It's not nearly as good. I've learned a lot since I painted this guy. I might actually have to go back and redo this guy's plasma effect at some point. Just to bring it in line with how I do things now. Alright. Let's see here. Not really a fan of how that's turning out. I think I do want to take off some of this black. Oh God. It's everywhere. The dust. Maybe I should be wearing a mask for this. Just so I'm not breathing in all this dust. That's okay though. Maybe I should get a more potent black. Out of my palette a little bit. I don't know. I'm not super liking how that looks. But I'll leave it, come back to it later. See if I like it more. Or if I can decide at least what I think I need to do to make it look better. I'll match it on the back side though. Oh man. As far as singed cloth I'm not sure if that's what it looks like. I thought this would do the trick, but no, I'm not so sure. I guess we'll see though. Oh man. I'm gonna go get a drink of water real quick. Alright, so yeah, lesson learned. God, this pigment powder can be kind of a pain. Maybe I'll look into it and see if there's something I can do to make it so that it's less like in the air. So that is not fun to breathe in. Okay. All right. I think at this point I'm going to switch gears and see if I can just get some additional work done on one of my models. Let's see here. I've been working on, these are my Stern Guard veterans. And they're mostly done, but I am working on kind of a cool effect on this guy's sword. So I am going to get out some of these paints. This will be a bit of a different technique. Than what I was doing before. But this is what's called non-metallic metal. And the goal is to not use any metallic paints, but to give it kind of a metallic look. This is kind of what I've done on a separate model here. It looks pretty cool on kind of swords and stuff. So I've been kind of working at it, trying to get better at it, because it is kind of hard in terms of painting techniques. It is fairly difficult, so I'm working my way through it. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to add a bit more white here to the tips. It really doesn't want to focus on what I'm painting, does it? Sometimes it does that when there's a lot of stuff on the background. I have to clean up my workstation to make sure it'll focus better. All right. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going for with these non-metallic metal swords. I think they look really cool, and I think it adds a little bit of spice to the model. So let's see if I can do it on this other one. Again, just trying to improve, get better. That attempt went pretty smoothly, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, I do think I am going to end the stream here. Usually I end around 2. Yeah, thanks for stopping by though. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun testing out the new pigment powders that I got. If you want to stop by again, I'll be streaming again next week, same time. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you had a good time. I'll see you next time on The Painting Sloth.